Hello and welcome to Anthem Chapter 10 and 11. This will also serve as your writing assessment, your writing test for the final part of this novel. Now, even though we are not finished with this novel 100%, these are the chapters that you're going to be using to write about. All right, so our learning targets, you're going to be reading Chapter 10 and 11 and answering questions based on evidence from the text. So this week it will not be multiple choice, it will be writing. So you will be assessed on how well you create a claim and use evidence from the text to support your claim in a race-style paragraph. All right, so the claim comes from the RA, the restate and the answer, and then the evidence and then the explanation is how you go about finishing the rest of your paragraph. All right, so here is the question that you will be answering. Remember, this is one half of your assessment. Next week, you will be taking the multiple choice portion of the assessment, and that both of these will count as two separate assessments, and those will be 2 test grades for you, which, if you remember, tests are 40% of your grade, so you should definitely make sure you take your time and actually finish this. If you do not finish this on the first day in class, you will have time on the second day to finish it. All right. So you're going to include topic sentence, that is your restate and your answer. That is where you create your claim. All right. You have 2 pieces of evidence that answer the question. One piece will be from one chapter, one from the other, and then your analysis explains the rest of the things that you need to answer in this question. So let's look at this question. The question itself says, in Chapter 10 and 11, Equality discovers more things out in the world since leaving his society and settling in the uncharted forest. Choose one thing that he discovers in each chapter to explain why it is so important or influential to him. So feel free to use the graphic organizer. I would suggest using the graphic organizer and then copying and pasting your paragraph. Now you can copy and paste your paragraph on the evidence-based analysis sheet, or for me, you can do it on the bottom of the graphic organizer. I really don't care, so long as it is in paragraph form. But if you do not make it into a complete paragraph, you will not get full points. For me, you will only get half of your points. So please make sure that you create a full paragraph out of this. So in these chapters, while you're reading, please make sure that you are highlighting things. All right, so you're going to see the things that these people discover that are going to impact their lives forever. So pay attention as you read. You can absolutely highlight quotes that are important to you. You can highlight notes that I take. Do not copy the notes on the side word for word, because those are my words. They are not quotes from the novel. You cannot quote the things that I am saying. However, you can use them and summarize them if you choose to. So this is your assignment that you're going to be looking at. Cohort A students will work on this Monday, March 8th, and if you need more time on Tuesday, you can absolutely do it, but I want it done in class in front of me. I do not want it done at home, unless you are a remote student. Cohort B, you will complete this Thursday, and obviously if you need more time on Friday, we have that time. Your targets are here, which we've already gone over, so your directions, you view the PowerPoint, which we have already done. You're going to read Chapter 10 and 11, which if you're watching this video, it's going to be on here, or we've already done this in class. The video lesson link is here, which if you are watching this video, you've already clicked on. And then you're going to fill out the graphic organizer and complete the evidence-based analysis. So let's look at that organizer right now. All right. So this is the graphic organizer that you are going to be able to use. So just like we did in Chapter 3 and 4, you've got the same thing. So your question is here. Your restate and your answer will be your claim. Now you can put both of them. If you put the whole thing in restate and your answer's there, that's fine. You'll still get points for it. It doesn't matter. Citation 1 will be for the discovery from Chapter 10. Explanation 1 should be you explaining why is this discovery so important or influential to him. All right. Citation 2 will be from Chapter 11, and once again, explanation 2 is you explaining why this discovery is so important or influential to equality. And your closing sentence just wraps it up. If you would like to make a prediction as to where you think this is going to take them into the future and these things they discover, or how this will continue to affect them, that is a perfectly logical place to go, and that is what I absolutely suggest here. Take these suggestions and use them, because I'm giving you hints as to how to do better on your story. And then you would just copy and paste these into a paragraph. If you want to include them onto the bottom of this page, that's fine. If you want to put them on evidence-based analysis, that's fine also. It doesn't matter. And then we go back to the assignment, and you see all the different portions on here as well. So you see the PowerPoint if you need to go back through it. You see the document for reading the text, which we will use next. This is the graphic organizer for 2 pieces of evidence, and if you so choose to put it back on the evidence-based analysis page for the assessment, this is where you're going to put it. You also have a short answer rubric, and this rubric is what we have been using to grade all along. Remember, you need your evidence, and that's 2 pieces of really well-developed, most important pieces of evidence that you can find. Your analysis, if you fully explain why these discoveries are so influential or important to equality, and I mean in more than one sentence, you will most likely get a 4. If you transition between your ideas, you introduce the idea first and then give the quote, and then transition to your next idea and use sophisticated language, and your format is correct, then your coherence, organization, and style will be a 4. If you are using appropriate versions of words like there, and there, or two, and two, and you're using appropriate language and grammar conventions, then you will get a 4 as well. Beyond that, this is 100 points total. It's due at least by the end of the week, so you will be doing this with me if you are a hybrid student, and if you are not a hybrid student, I need it by the end of the week, please. I also have the Turnitin report turned on, which means if you decide that you do not want to do this on your own and you borrow someone else's work, or you go onto the internet and borrow someone else's work, I will be able to see it. And if I get something that says it was 100% copied, I will absolutely call home and I will give you a 0. This is an assessment. You cannot afford a 0. I would rather have you give me a 75% worth of your own words rather than 100% of somebody else's. So please keep that in mind as you are completing this assignment. So now we're going to actually read chapter 10 and 11 of Anthem. Please remember, as you are reading along with your copy open, you can highlight any information that you think would be a great quote or information that you would like to touch on in your writing. If you do the work as you go, then you don't have to stop later and go back and find the information. It will make it much faster in the long run. And when I stop to explain things, those are probably important things that you might want to pay attention to. All right. We are sitting at a table and we are writing this upon paper made thousands of years ago. The light is dim and we cannot see the golden one. Only one lock of gold on the pillow of the ancient bed. This is our home. So you should start by asking yourself, where did he find this paper and where is this bed? They're foreshadowing, hey, something's coming. He's once again starting at the end and flashing back. We came upon it today at sunrise. For many days we had been crossing a chain of mountains. The forest rose among cliffs, and whenever we walked out upon a barren stretch of rock, we saw great peaks before us in the west, and to the north of us and to the south, as far as our eyes could see. The peaks were red and brown, with green streaks of forest as veins upon them, with blue mist and veils over their heads. We had never heard of these mountains, nor seen them marked on any map. The uncharted forest has protected them from the cities and from the men of the cities. So we, hear the whole time that the uncharted forest is evil and dangerous, but in this case, it's really not. It's actually protected the nature that's within it from men and protected it from the societies that would not understand it. So now equality gets to enjoy it on his own. We climbed the path where the wild goat dared not follow. Stones rolled from under our feet, and we heard them striking the rocks below. Farther and farther down, and the mountains rang with each stroke, and long after the strokes had died. But we went on, for we knew that no men would ever follow our new track or reach us here. Then today at sunrise we saw a white flame among the trees, high on a sheer peak before us. We thought that it was a fire and stopped, but the flame was unmoving, yet blinding as liquid metal. So we climbed toward it through the rocks, and there, before us, on a broad summit, with the mountains rising behind it, stood a house, which as we had never seen, and the white fire came from the sun on the glass of its windows. So remember, we've talked about this a bunch, that light is a symbol for knowledge and enlightenment. This house shows them that they can live outside society, and others have done so in the past. They're also going to have the knowledge of what the house holds inside of it from the people from the unmentionable times. So this is only bringing them more knowledge as they go. The house had 2 stories and a strange roof, flat as a floor. There was more window than wall upon its walls, and the windows went on straight around the corners, though how this kept the house standing we could not guess. The walls were hard and smooth, of that stone, unlike stone, which we had seen in our tunnel. We both knew it. Without words, this house was left from the unmentionable times. The trees had protected it from time and weather, and from men who have less pity than time and weather. We turned to the golden one, and we asked, "Are you afraid?" But they shook their head. So we walked to the door, and we threw it open, and we stepped together into the house of the unmentionable times. We shall need the days and the years ahead to look, to learn, and to understand the things of this house. Today we could only look and try to believe the sight of our eyes. We pulled the heavy curtains from the windows, and we saw that the rooms were small, and we thought that not more than 12 men could have lived here. We thought it strange that men had been permitted to build a house for only 12. All right, so there's this house that has withstood time and weather for God knows how long. All right, and when he goes inside, he realizes it's a lot smaller than the place where he has lived, where 100 people live in a hall at a time. So he has never experienced living in a house this small, but this is what comes of living a solitary lifestyle where it's just you and a couple other people. All right, so these are like the houses we live in now. This one happens to be very, very modern, but you know, it's about the size of the houses that we normally live in. Never had we seen rooms so full of light. The sun rays danced upon colors, more colors than we thought possible. We who had seen no houses save the white ones, the brown ones, the gray. There were great pieces of glass on the walls, but it was not glass, for when we looked upon it, we saw our own bodies and all the things behind us, as on the face of the lake. There were strange things which we had never seen, and the use of which we do not know. And there were globes of glass everywhere in each room, the globes with the metal cobwebs inside, such as we had seen in our tunnel. So once again, the light is representing all the things they're going to learn, and then they go on to tell us they're now seeing their reflections in an actual mirror for the first time. They're seeing these electrical systems, and he's relating it to his tunnel. So he will soon be able to discover what makes this house work. We found the sleeping hall, and we stood in awe upon its threshold, for it was a small room, and there were only 2 beds in it. We found no other beds in the house, and then we knew that only 2 had lived here, and this passes understanding. What kind of world did they have, the men of the unmentionable times? We found garments, and the golden one gasped at the sight of them, for they were not white tunics nor white togas. They were all colors, no 2 of them alike. Some crumbled to dust as we touched them, but others were of heavier cloth, and they felt soft and new in our fingers. We found a room with walls made of shelves, which had held rows of manuscripts from the floor to the ceiling. Never had we seen such a number of them, nor of such strange shape. They were not soft and rolled. They had hard shells of cloth and leather, and the letters on their pages were so small and so even that we wondered at the men who had such handwriting. We glanced through the pages, and we saw that they were written in our language, but we found many pages which we could not understand. Tomorrow we shall begin to read these manuscripts. So this is a library that he finds, and these are books, hardcover books that he finds, and they're printed. He doesn't understand, how books are printed, because in his world, books are only written by hand. All right, so he's seeing things very differently than he has before. When we had seen all of the rooms in the house, we looked at the golden one, and we both knew the thought in our minds. We shall never leave this house, we said, nor let it be taken from us. This is our home and the end of our journey. This is your house, golden one, and ours, and it belongs to no other men. Whatever as far as the earth may stretch, we shall not share it with others, as we share not our joy with them, nor our love, nor our hunger. So be it to the end of our days. So very quickly, they're able to lose the idea of living for the group and decide that this house is for them alone and no one else. They have very quickly learned to give up the group. All right, and remember, when we're looking at Ayn Rand, this is her idea of giving up communism for capitalism, which is what we practice here in America. It's kind of all for one type of thing. Your will be done, they said. Then we went out to gather wood for the great hearth of our home. We brought the water from the stream which runs among the trees under our windows. We killed a mountain goat, and we brought its flesh to be cooked in a strange copper pot we found in a place of wonders, which must have been the cooking room of the house. We did this work alone, for no words of ours could take the golden one away from the big glass which is not glass. They stood before it, and they looked and looked upon their own body. So this is her first time seeing herself, and has the same reaction that Equality did when he saw himself in the stream. She's in complete awe. She's never looked at herself before. So this is a strange new thing for her. When the sun sank beyond the mountains, the golden one fell asleep on the floor amidst jewels and bottles of crystals and flowers of silk. We lifted the golden one in our arms, and we carried them to a bed, their head falling softly upon our shoulder. Then we lit a candle, and we brought paper from the room of the manuscripts, and we sat by the window, for we knew that we could not sleep tonight. And now we look upon the earth and the sky. This spread of naked rock and peaks and moonlight is like a world ready to be born, a world that waits. It seems to us, it asks a sign from us, a spark, a first commandment. We cannot know what word we are to give, nor what great deed this earth expects to witness. We know it waits. It seems to say it has great gifts to lay before us, but it wishes a greater gift for us. We are to speak. We are to give its goal, its highest meaning to all this glowing space of rock and sky. We look ahead, and we beg our heart for guidance in answering this call. No voice has spoken yet. We have heard. We look upon our hands. We see the dust of centuries, the dust which hid the great secrets and perhaps great evils, and yet it stirs no fear within our heart, but only silent reverence and pity. May knowledge come to us, which is the secret our heart has understood and yet will not reveal to us, although it seems to beat as if it were endeavoring to tell it. Chapter 11. I am. I think. I will. My hands, my spirit, my sky, my forest, this earth of mine. What must I say besides? These are the words. This is the answer. So what do you notice that he is saying now that he has never said before? He has figured out those unspeakable words. I, my, me, mine. All right, probably found them in the books in his library, and now he knows the word that he was struggling to find before when he was trying to tell the golden one, I love you, and neither one of them could come up with the word that they needed. Now he has it. I stand here on the summit of the mountain. I lift my head and I spread my arms. This my body and spirit. This is the end of the quest. I wish to know the meaning of things. I am the meaning. I wish to find a warrant for being. I need no warrant for being, and no word of sanction upon my being. I am the warrant and the sanction. It is my eyes which see, and the sight of my eyes grants beauty to the earth. It is my ears which hear, and the hearing of my ears gives its song to the world. It is my mind which thinks, and the judgment of my mind is the only searchlight that can find the truth. It is my will which chooses, and the choice of my will is the only edict I must respect. Many words have been granted me, and some are wise and some are false, but only 3 are holy. I will it. Meaning, I will make it happen, basically. Whatever road I take, the guiding star is within me. The guiding star and the lodestone which point the way, they point in but one direction. They point to me. So once again, this light guides him to new knowledge. So this word I is a new knowledge. It's his guiding star. So that light imagery is there again. I know not if this earth on which I stand is the core of the universe, or if it is but a speck of dust lost in eternity. I know not, and I care not, for I know what happiness is possible to me on earth, and my happiness needs no higher aim to vindicate it. My happiness is not the means to any end. It is the end. It is its own goal. It is its own purpose. So he's basically saying, I don't know if we're the center of the universe, and I don't care, because the only thing that matters to me right now is happiness. And I don't need anything to justify that happiness. It just simply is. Neither am I the means to any end others may wish to accomplish. I am not a tool for their use. I am not a servant of their needs. I am not a bandage for their wounds. I am not a sacrifice on their altars. So no one depends on him for their own gain. He doesn't work for other people anymore, is what he's saying. I am a man. This miracle of me is mine to own and keep, and mine to guard, and mine to use, and mine to kneel before. I do not surrender my treasures, nor do I share them. The fortune of my spirit is not to be blown into coins of brass and flung to the winds as alms for the poor of the spirit. I guard my treasure, my thought, my will, my freedom, and the greatest of these is freedom. So he's learning the benefit in selfishness, which is part of Rand's philosophy of objectivism. The idea that you do what you want to do and you don't do it for other people. If you choose to do it for other people, then that's fine. But you don't have to do for other people. The best thing you can do for society is to create your own person and make it the best person you can be, basically. I owe nothing to my brothers, nor do I gather debts from them. I ask none to live for me, nor do I live for any others. I covet no man's soul, nor is my soul theirs to covet. I am neither foe nor friend to my brothers, but such as each of them shall deserve of me. And to earn my love, my brothers must do more than to have been born. I do not grant my love without reason, nor to any chance passer-by who may wish to claim it. I honor men with my love, but honor is a thing to be earned. All right, so he doesn't ask for anything of his brothers. However, he doesn't have to love every other person in the world. If he's going to love them or choose them as friends or family or whatnot, they have to earn that trust. They have to earn that love. And it's by doing good things, or being good people or smart or intelligent or whatever he chooses is that thing that justifies them. I shall choose friends among men, but neither slaves nor masters. And I shall choose only such as please me, and them I shall love and respect, but neither command nor obey. And we shall join our hands when we wish, or walk alone when we so desire. For in the temple of his spirit each man is alone. Let each man keep his temple untouched and undefiled. Then let him join hands with others if he wishes, but only beyond his holy threshold. For the word we must never be spoken, save by one's choice and as a second thought. This word must never be placed first within man's soul, else it becomes a monster, the root of all the evils on earth, the root of man's torture by men, and of unspeakable lie. So remember, this we she speaks of is communism. All right, so she's actually speaking out against communism in Russia at this point when she's writing this novel, and that's what she's condemning, basically. The word we is as lime poured over men, which sets and hardens to stone, and crushes all beneath it, and that which is white and that which is black are lost equally in the gray of it. It is the word by which the depraved steal the virtue of the good, by which the weak steal the might of the strong, by which the fools steal the wisdom of sages. What is my joy of all hands, even the unclean can reach into it? What is my wisdom, if even the fools can dictate it to me? What is my freedom, if all creatures, even the botched and the impotent, are my masters? What is my life, if I am but to bow, to agree, to obey? So basically, he compares this word "we" to death of the mind and the body. He's like, look, I have freedom, but what good is it if all of us have exactly the same thing? All right? He works hard for what he has, and he wants to be able to keep that. But I am done with this creed of corruption. I am done with the monster of we, the word of serfdom, of plunder, of misery, falsehood, and shame. And now I see the face of God, and I raise this God over the earth, this God whom men have sought since men came into being, this God who will grant them joy and peace and pride, this God, this one word, I. All right, so in this end part, he compares I, or individuality, to God, that it is something that grants joy and peace and pride, like it is a deity, something powerful, all-powerful from above. And he proceeds basically to just live his life in this individuality that he has just recently discovered. All right, so now that you have read through these two things, determine what are the two most important things that he has discovered, one in each chapter, and you're going to tell me why those things are so important to him in your paragraph.